My camera's on. Everything. Do you want to? Am I still in your?
No.
No. So, um, you want to look on your phone if you disconnect from the Wi-Fi, just to make sure that we're good. There is a little thing here that I can adjust a bit like this. Awesome.
Oops.
Everything's good. All seems to be
Yeah.
good.
I
Let's
see.
see if somebody can give us the thumbs up, thumbs down on the Instagrams and the TikToks to make sure that all is going well, that you guys can hear us, can you see us?
You can see
And
us.
yeah, we can definitely, I think they can definitely see us.
I don't know if you could hear us. I don't want to put the
Let's
volume on.
see if they can see us. Same thing on the feed. If can you guys confirm if you can see us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or the YouTubes? And if I get a thumbs up, I'm gonna start right now. So, oh, thumbs
Somebody
up on
did.
the Instagrams. So we shall start right there. Josie and I have been on the road for about 8 months now. We've left Canada and decided to explore the US in a hopes to find a place we can call home. Up to now, it hasn't really happened, but something that did happen that is quite unexpected is the fact that we've discovered how fate is important to a lot of people in the US. This is why today we want to ask you this question. Can faith make a relationship stronger? This episode of the Nico Lagan Show is brought to you by the Alpha Content Blueprint. Are you a male content creator on a mission to help other men? Is your content not getting the attention that it deserves? Do you want to increase your views by 10, 100, even 1,000 times? If yes, head to the alphacreatorblueprint.com website and let us show you how we can help you. Welcome to the Nico Lagan Show. I am your host, Nico Lagan, aka Mr. Masculinity. And before you make fun of this, I did not choose this nickname. This was given to me. So, yes, the face that Josie's making, as in, what the fuck is he? How cocky can that be?
You're
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yes, it's ridiculous. You need to talk more in your microphone. But the point in the matter is that as a fighter, I was called meathead, was not my choice. And guys that I record podcasts with started calling me Mr. Masculinity. So I am sticking to it. I am embracing it. I might get it tattooed. I'm just saying.
Oh God, don't get it tattooed.
So, the question that we have for you today is an interesting one because I'll speak for myself and I'll let Josie speak about her past, but I do not come from a religious family. I was baptized and that's it. And this is about my extent that I had with religion. I was not brought up to think that it was wrong. I was not brought up to think that it was right. I was just brought up without it being a conversation. It was never tabooed. It was nothing like that. It was not, my extended family was not really Christian either. So it's not something that I grew up in. But since we've been on the road, since we've been exploring the US, and you tell me how you think, what you think about this, but I find it very interesting that if you cross that mid state, that midline, as I like to call it, like imagine we're Virginia, somewhere in the middle, Richmond, Virginia, draw a line east to west across the US. As soon as you cross that line, you start seeing religion, faith, Christianity being more and more
Yeah.
in people's life. It's more and more involved. And what I'm going to say here might sound very bad, but the further south we go, it seems that the further people are involved in religion. And I'm not saying that religion makes you a good person, but I have the strange impression that we've met nicer people in the south that we have in the north. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna have to agree. And I don't know if they're nicer, but they just have. I feel like they have more. I relate more to them
Mm,
in terms of values and morals and things like that than I do um states further north, just
yep.
because of their way of life,
Hmm.
I guess,
Yep.
to
Yep.
say it in a politically correct way.
Yeah. Fuck political correctness. You know
Um,
me better than this.
yeah, I know, but this is where we differ.
Yeah.
How we balance each other.
Yeah. I guess so. Huh?
Um, yeah, I guess I would agree, but it's just because I feel like I relate to them more. Yeah, I feel like they're more conservative
Th-
as
That
well, right? Like,
that's for sure. It goes hand to hand normally. If you're
right?
more religious, you tend to be more conservative in your
So they
values.
obviously align with a lot of our ideas as well. Like we're
They
on the yeah.
they align with my values a lot more, and it is something I never saw myself as a religious guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say that the more time we spend in the South, the more time we spend around people that go to church. It's interesting how it correlates with a lot of their life values, like what they believe in really impacts the rest of their lives. And again, I'm not talking about everybody out there, but just the people that I've met.
Yeah.
Like just here in Colorado, through Matt, through Rustin, through Chris, through um shit, what's his name? The guy that owns Trials MMA.
Ryan.
Ryan. It's just in Colorado, I must have met 4 or 5 guys that all go to the same church. They all very successful in their own rights. What they do it to the best of their abilities.
Yeah.
Chris is extremely intelligent when it comes to fighting real estate. Rustin, ex-military, extraordinary what he's doing for amputees. Matt is just so
He's very
business
involved.
savvy, very intelligent man. You look at Ryan, one of the best fighters to ever come out of Colorado. Love what he does. It's
Yeah.
hard. We don't meet a lot of passionate people as passionate as that guy seems to be for martial art. And it seems that all they have in common is martial art
Yeah.
and their faith.
I was gonna ask, like, do you think a lot of martial artists, and not just are they, not only are they religious, do you see them more on a spiritual? Because
Well,
like Buddha, like I want to talk about Buddhism and all of these things. These are part of like this. I don't want to say if they're religious, but it's still a spiritual.
Mhm.
They still have spiritual beliefs, right? So
you know,
you think it goes hand in hand when it comes to martial arts?
I think, well, in North America, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because it is not something that's really, faith is not necessarily incorporated in martial artist teachers,
Mm-hmm.
like in the teaching that martial artists have or coaches have with their guys. But if you look at the source, if you look at Kung Fu, which originates from China, religion, like there's a strong aspect of spirituality through meditation.
Yeah.
If you look at Buddhist monks, they're normally very well versed in martial arts, and a big portion of their martial arts is
Yeah.
attached to Buddhism.
Yeah.
Same thing, you go to Thailand. There's a lot. Muay Thai is not necessarily spiritual, but it is at the same time. You have the Y crew. When you enter the ring, you seal the ring and you bless your ancestors, you
Yeah.
bless your teachers, and you try to fortify the ring so no demons comes in. So it's very spiritual in nature.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think that when it crosses the pond and it ends up in North America, like you look Muay Thai, which I'm very fond of, they don't teach the Buddhist aspect because in Thailand, Buddhism is part of culture.
Yeah.
So they don't feel the need to incorporate it with the Muay Thai teaching. But I think that us as martial artists here in North America, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when I start teaching again, there will be a big portion of meditation, of prayer,
Yeah.
of self work, self understanding, faith that's going to be attached to my teachings because to me, they're intertwined.
Yeah.
My faith allows me to believe in something greater than myself, allows me to believe in other people, allows me to believe in myself. And martial art allows me to make myself a better person, gave me the discipline that I needed. It's really allows me to work on my inner demons. So to me, they're intertwined. And maybe that's why we're finding what we're finding today. That we're drawn. Like, you know what? I think that's the word I'm gonna use, because I never thought that we would start going to churches since we've been in the U.S.
And we'll just clarify this, okay? We're going to churches, but like, I'm not going to a church that my grandmother used to go to, because my grandmother used to go to church, I want to say every weekend. I don't know. I don't know
Yep,
if my mom can correct me on
that's
that
a
one if
very
she,
good point.
but my grandmother used to go to church, and I remember maybe going a few times with her.
Yep, yep,
Like I remember one time at least, and my grandmother used to like we used to pray holidays, like when family get-togethers. My grandmother would
yeah, yeah.
like she would be the one
Hmm.
giving prayer, right? Not any, we don't do it anymore. I don't know why. I think it just after a while it kind of stopped going, and it just kind of
Yeah.
fell through. But it was cool to have that, it's cool to have that that memory. But we did not go to those like Catholic or really like
No,
churchy places where it's like sit, stand, and it's just a priest, and it's very like reading from the Bible and like amen, like all of that stuff. It's very modern. There's singing, and the pastor is not um I don't want to say preachy, but he takes portions of the Bible and kind of relates it to everyday life and how it kind of just meshes into modern day life. And it's really interesting in how they're this current this current church that we're going to,
foundations in
Foundations,
Loveland,
and the
Colorado.
last one we went to in Yuma really brought everyday things and connected it to
Yeah,
stories or related it to stories from the Bible.
they're and this is, thank you for saying this, because this is a very important point. We are not going to Catholic churches.
No,
We're
we're
going
not.
to non-denominational
Yeah, exactly.
churches, which the pastors are married, they have kids, they show up there in fucking t-shirts.
They're everyday guys
Oh yeah,
that,
yeah,
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 they're
yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're everyday guys who've gone through shit, the same shit that everybody else is going
Yep.
through. And everybody in the audience is not
Yep.
like this like holy, like I've never done a
No.
horrible thing. Like
No.
everybody has their shit, and everyone is going through something, and everyone can relate to everything that they're saying,
They're
whether it be
great
good, bad.
storytellers.
Yeah.
They're very, very great storytellers. And fuck, the pastor on Sunday, sorry, plugged his iPhone, and
Oh my
you
god.
guys need to imagine this. We're about 400 people. I'm giving a gross number,
I
but
don't know
we're
if it's
probably around.
400.
Huh?
I don't know if it's
Oh
400.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's big. It's really big.
Okay.
There was at least 150 people per section. So let's call it 300 people, just because she likes to argue with everything I say. So let's say that it's 300 people. You have a band that's playing, you have multiple massive screens,
Mm.
you have three cameramen with some equipment that made me jealous. I even mentioned, I'm like, wow, those are cameras. So we're talking at least 10 grand a camera.
Yeah.
And they're streaming it live online. The guy shows up, the pastor shows up on stage with his iPhone, clicks it, plugs it into the sound system, and starts playing his music. He played some fucking Metallica.
Was
He's
it
basically,
Metallica?
yeah. The only song that did not have lyrics was from Metallica, and I understand why he's not playing the lyrics. But what I'm saying is that it is a very new type of church, and the guy was just explaining how music brings him to a specific place. Like, he was talking about how it impacts his life, and it's just a beautiful thing because, as you're saying, they're just regular guys
Yeah.
with a lot of life
Mhm.
experience, and then they explain their life in relations to Bible teachings.
Yeah.
So they have some very vast understanding of the Bible. They will take a verse of the Bible and then turn it around as in, this is what happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
This, an example that I like to use for to understand this is, In the Bible, it speaks about, and Buddha went through the same thing. Buddha spent around 40 days in the wilderness, met the devil, and fought, spiritually fought him. Same thing as Jesus Christ did when he went 40 days in the wilderness and he met the devil. When you take it instead of seeing it as a grandiose story, take it for what it is. Imagine that Jesus Christ is you, that Buddha is you, and the devil is just a bad portion of you,
Mm.
and that by spending time alone, you will face those demons.
Yeah.
This relates to me, and I use this example all the time because I spent a year and a half in isolation. I was fucking alone in the middle of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think I faced my demons? Fuck yes, I did. I had to because there was nothing else for me to do.
Yeah.
So this is what I like, using example like this to say, instead of making it sound like a grandiose story,
Yeah.
they just take it for what it is and relate that to
Like a situation,
a
like a
day-to-day
day
situation
situation.
that affected them. So not only are those guys sounding just like normal human beings, they're making a text that sounds extremely exaggerated to most people and put it into a life context that everybody could
Yeah.
say, you know what, I've been through this, I fully understand what he's saying. And this is what the beauty of what we're experiencing is. But one of the things I wanted you to speak about is to relate what we when we were on our way yesterday to record a podcast with Chris Oakham. That podcast was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Chris Holcomb, I'll release a podcast with him in a couple of weeks, but he was an amazing, amazing dude. Very happy I recorded that. Thanks again, brother, for inviting us to your house.
Yeah.
All to say that Josie and I spend a lot of time traveling. We spend a lot of time in the truck where often she's driving so that I can work as she's driving. But all to say that we spend a lot of time in the truck with new music, just talking about shit.
Mostly
And
work.
Huh?
It's mostly work related.
Yeah, it always is. It's
Yeah.
always work related because that's all I fucking do is work. But you mentioned something yesterday in the car, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd like you to speak about it because it kind of hits me in the heart. Like I really like that you said that because I see it the same way.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just because we're always working, because we're like on the road, either driving or doing, either I'm working or you're working while you're driving. It's just a time where it's where neither of us is doing, and we're just so present in like being together that like there's no phones, there's no work talk. There's really just either we're laughing or we're kind of just going with the sermon. Yeah, it's time for us to be together, and whether it's an hour or 30 minutes, it's just time that we take to do something for us with each other without distractions. I know other people have other means, but for now, this is our, I want to say, escape from work and just kind of a relationship time. And I don't know if it's intimate, but
it is. But to me, it is very intimate because I think one of the biggest issues in relationships today is people are not connected spiritually.
yeah.
Like, yes, they talk to each other, but do they really understand each other? Do they really share their deep-rooted values that we mostly take for granted?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you and I, it gives us the opportunity to, as you said, not work, just sit there and spend time being.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. I did not, I'm always worried about speaking about faith because I'm not what you consider a religious person.
Mm-hmm.
I am extremely spiritual,
Yeah.
but I am not your typical religious guy. And, there's people that told me in private messages that I'll become a preacher one day. And the more that I spend time in church,
Mm-hmm.
the more that I spend time around people that go to church, I can see that happening. I didn't believe that months ago, but now that we've been going almost every Sunday now, I can see it happening. But I don't want to be, I want it to be relatable. This is why I'm always nervous about talking about this, because I am not a religious guy. If you follow any of the shit that I do, I swear all the time, I'm not politically correct at all. I say what I feel needs to be said.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's important that I speak about this because it's extremely personal. And I think I was ashamed until Sunday, because Sunday the pastor was talking about how faith, you should talk about your faith. You should embrace it basically and not be ashamed to speak about it. And I am a bit ashamed to speak about it, because as much as I create a lot of content that people bash on a daily basis,
Yeah.
I don't really care. But this is so personal to me that it does bother me.
Yeah, he was talking about how there's a lot of things that take a lot of strength, because he's
Yeah.
talking about like how our society is, like if there's any strong people, and but that's a different topic. But he was saying how it takes strength, and he was giving examples, and one of the examples was talking about your faith and religion,
Yeah.
and bringing it up to people, and how that kind of related to him, because he was at a young age was scared to speak about it,
Yeah.
or uncomfortable rather to speak about it, until one day he just fucking did it. Whereas that's where you related, because you don't talk about it. You didn't even speak about your when you were spiritual, when you
No,
did, you know,
I've
like
always avoided it like the
yeah,
plague.
you've
Always.
always, like, unless you're very close to you, you've spoken about it, but outside of like your your
Inner circle.
yeah,
Yep.
you did not speak about
No,
it.
never.
Yeah.
It's something. This week I recorded a podcast about it
Yeah.
because of the sermon we had Sunday. It's 100% because of the
Yeah.
sermon. And today, this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what I've heard on Sunday. But
Mhm.
I think it would not be genuine if I don't start talking about it, because it is such a strong component of me,
Yeah.
and it is becoming more and more important to me.
Yeah. It
And
kind of a missing, I don't want to say
no,
missing piece, but missing piece to like your beliefs too, right? It kind of coincides with what you believe too.
it's fun to be able to, this is one thing that I absolutely love about you, is that one, you believe in me to a point where you're ready to follow me anywhere we go.
Yeah.
Another example of this is just this morning. I somehow got in contact with a fighter in the UFC that I used to watch fight all the time. Somehow he comments on some of my shit. I reach out to him and I had a super nice conversation. Hey, Marcus Davis. But I was a bit of a fangirl this morning about this.
Such a fangirl. Oh my God. I've never.
But I was a bit of a fangirl. I used to love watching him fight. He was one of my favorite fighters.
Like the twinkle in his eye.
Oh, yeah. And we are somewhat reorganizing our next few weeks so that we can go in.
We can make it on
we
time.
can make it to North Carolina so that I get to record a podcast with him. But this is another portion of faith, having faith in somebody. Like, you believe in me.
Yeah.
You have faith in what I'm doing because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And this is a component of you that I absolutely love. And the fact that we can share together going to church is becoming extremely important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't want this to sound religious to people that are uninitiated to going to non-denominational church. And I got to tell you that most church that we've been to, we weren't impressed at all.
We were not impressed.
We went once and we're like, yep, this is not our type of place.
Yeah. But like anything else, you kind of need to feel it out. If that's something you want to try 100%. Out, you need to feel it out. The people, the pastor, like you really need to find somewhere you connect. If you don't just go because you feel like, oh, it's going to make me a better person. Like, no, you need to go where you feel welcome and you can connect and really be relate to them, because there else there's no point in it. You might as well just stay home and pray to your God, like at home.
Yep. And this is another good point that I like from, I think this really started when I went to Washington to that main event where I was a keynote speaker to a main event. And turned out that all the guys there were faithful men. They were God-fearing men. The event actually took place in a church. And I had a really strong conversation with the pastor of that church. And it's a shame that the podcast sounds so much like garbage, but I would love to re-record it. But that whole thing started there, and I started to see how going to church is simply putting you in the presence of other people that believe in the same, that has the faith in the same thing as you do. Because all the church that we're going, none of them are saying that you need them in order to talk to God.
No, none of them.
And this is what I like about non-denominational church, and I do not like about Catholic church,
Yeah.
is that I speak to God every day, multiple times a day, and I don't need a third party to tell me what I need to tell him.
No.
We have a direct connection between the two.
Yeah.
But it is, to me, it is just a place where we can both connect with other people that have very similar faith to us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting that all the successful guys that I'm meeting recently somehow all involved in churches.
Yeah. But a lot of successful people are, they just don't speak about it on
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
see a lot of, and I'm just gonna go out there, like a lot of celebrities too are coming out and talking about like all of these people that you would have never thought are religious or really out, are kind
Yeah.
of speaking up about like the devils out there and all of these
Yeah.
things that Hollywood is doing and being like, this is wrong. And it's like, whoa, like you're religious, like
Yeah.
you're a faithful person. And it's not to say that they're better, but just to say that like people don't speak about them. Like there's a lot of successful people that do or are spiritual, religious, whatever
Yeah.
you want to be, and don't speak about it.
You know, I should have changed the title of this episode. Well, once it's edited and published, the title's going to be different. But I should have said, "Does faith make relationships stronger? Not just couple relationship, but relationships as
In
a whole."
general, yeah.
Yeah, because again, I think that you develop very strong bonds with individuals that have a shared belief.
Yeah.
Because the same way as I get very close to people that do martial arts,
Yeah.
it seems that we get closer to people that believe in the same thing we believe. Whatever you believe in, it seems that it's a gatherer.
Yeah.
And this is what I see us going to church on Sundays. Not only does it make you and I closer, but it also makes relationship with others easier and stronger.
Sure.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I feel like this is where we have like we're very different because you and relationships with a lot of people is just,
You mean I know a lot of people?
not that you know a lot of people, like I hold relationships a lot better
What
when
do you
it
mean?
comes to friends and things like that. And like,
Oh yeah, but that's a different story.
yeah.
That's just because I'm such a workaholic that I'm so focused on what I want to accomplish that if you don't align with what I do, you're not in my life.
Yeah.
I'm extremely selfish when it comes to that. I will give as much as I can be extremely selfish on that side. I will, you know, as well as I do, that I'll give my clothes off my back to somebody that needs it.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
it's just my private time.
Yeah.
If you're not involved in the things that I do, if you're not looking to accomplish similar things as I am, you're not in my life. I'm not spending time with you because
Yeah.
I don't see the value. We're not helping each other grow. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well, no, it has bettered our relationship in a sense. It's given us time to kind of just be
Yeah.
together. So that's a plus. Like without the work and all the mumbo jumbo that goes on in our life on a day-to-day basis, you know, we're always running around trying to do something, figuring out
Yeah.
where we're gonna be, or I'm figuring out where we're gonna be, and you're dealing with like a whole bunch of other things.
I'm just fucking running the business.
Yeah. So,
you know, for the people on Instagram, I see that we have a bunch of comments, and I apologize. We're very far from the camera because this is the only way that I can make Josie and I appear in the same shot. I know that there's a bunch of comments there, and I will do my best to. I won't kill the live right away on Instagram just so I can answer them, but I want to say to everybody that's leaving comments on both the stream, Instagram, and TikTok that I'm not ignoring you. I see it. It's just that they're so the phones. You have to understand that I'm running 5 cameras right now, and the 2 phones that are running are fucking far, and I cannot read what's written on it. But I really appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. If you want to have a conversation about it, I respond to my text. So text me on Instagram, text me on TikTok, text me wherever you feel like texting me, and I will happily answer your questions or at least read your comments. But Again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the people that comment on my stuff, that interacts with it, and know that I really, really appreciate every single one of you. And on that note, remember, never forget that the world has changed one man at a time, and it takes just one man to change the world. Peace out.